Yo, good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Victor Machoka, and this is your Monday 707. So, listen in. Now, here's an interesting one. Have you ever wondered why, in most governments, especially in Africa, every time you've got a new president coming in or a new government coming in, you have a totally new manifesto, totally new plan? The plan is 5 to 10 years, and it has a different name, different structures, and all that. When you look at China, when you look at South Korea, when you look at developed countries, especially the ones that have withstood the vicissitudes of the ages, you find they have got 50-year plans, 30-year plans. But African countries have got a 5-year plan. And this is a huge tragedy because every time you've got a short-term plan, you're always going to be disrupting your country. Now, why is that a problem? Because the burden of leadership is not ingenuity of the problem. Your goal is not to redesign your assignment. Your goal is to discover your assignment. When you're put in a position of leadership, we have got this burden that weighs on us to come up with a new assignment, with a new idea. But the truth of the matter is, there is an assignment that predated you. There is an assignment that pre-existed you. Listen to what God does. So God calls Moses, God calls Joshua, and he tells him, listen, Moses, my servant, is dead. In Joshua chapter 1. Now what's that? End of a season, end of an era. Okay? So you're the new leader. But listen to what he tells him next. He tells him, now take my people and take them to the promised land, the land flowing with milk and honey. This is the exact same policy direction that he gave Moses. So, different era, different leader, same assignment. Listen to me closely. You have an assignment that called your name. Your business is to discover your name. What's your name? Every time people are called by a name, especially in the ancient times, their name is not just describing their essence, it is also describing their assignment. There is a functional nature to your name. Your name is not just a cultural appendage that hangs on your neck that helps us to identify you. It's not just a cultural identifier. Your name has got a functional value, and your business as a leader is to discover your name. Because guess what? It is that assignment that called you from eternity. It is because of that problem that existed before you became a leader that you are appointed to that position of leadership. So stop carrying around your head and your neck this burden of coming up with ingenuity and new ideas and stuff like that. In fact, innovation begins once you understand the assignment. So true leaders settle down, they sit and they understand the situation and the assignment that has called them, then they begin to innovate. Your tools may be unique. David had a sling when everybody else was ready for swords and shields and stuff like that. But guess what? His assignment was still to deliver Israel. Your gifts may be different. Daniel, Joseph, they had the power to interpret dreams. But guess what? The assignment was still the same. Deliver Israel. When you look at Joseph, he had an assignment of helping Israel and helping the world get through the famine. That assignment existed before Joseph became prime minister. So your business is to understand what is your name, what calls you. Your competition is fueled because you're being called the same name as everybody else. You believe you're answering the same problem that everybody else has. So in Africa, one of the challenges we have is leaders who come up with their own version of the assignment. And because you don't bother to look at the assignment that your predecessor was dealing with, then we lose policy continuity. So you find that leaders, new governments come in and then they set up new ministries, they set up new administration structures. You're dealing with the same people that have been there for decades, with the same skill sets, with the same problems, but you now put them in different structures, you put them in different ministries, you put them in different job descriptions, and you believe that you have redesigned the problem. You have your own idea of what the problem is. Not so. Many times your predecessor actually had it right. Even when you're a CEO, go back and check what your predecessor did. Your genius may be in execution, because most of the time, just like you, your predecessor would have sat down and tried to figure out what the problem was. So the same way you're trying to figure out what the problem is the same way they sat down to figure out what the problem was. You probably don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just find out, what is it that my predecessor felt the assignment was? And many times you'll find that they just missed it by a little bit. They just missed it by a small spot, or they didn't finish. Now, once you discover the assignment, then your business is just to innovate within that assignment and to execute. Once you discover your name and you discover the problem that you have come to solve, your competition ends. And now you begin to complement other leaders in the relay of life, because your own assignment is too small to serve this generation and the next generation and the next generation. Your idea of the problem is too myopic for you to become an intergenerational success. For you to truly latch on to an intergenerational focus, it is important for you to study the assignment that existed before you came. Study the assignment that calls your name. It will show you what your plan, what your place in the relay is meant to be. Your stress ends there. Same assignment, different tools, different gifts. That's your portion. So this week, don't stress. Go back and check. What calls you? What's your name? This is your 707. Thank you for tuning in. Cheers.